Well, greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome to, depending on wherever you may live, this middle of the night or early morning bonus upload. Before we jump into this upload full of terrifying experiences and chilling video, a couple links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It doesn't cost a cent. Click that like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. And yes, folks, they really do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump into this middle of the night or early morning bonus upload, shall we? Today's first encounter. Lorraine is a woman of Navajo heritage who once lived in the town of Lovington, New Mexico. As a child, in this instance, at the age of 8 years old, Lorraine and her friends would play on the school grounds near her home. There was also a small grocery store with a large porch where the children would spend a lot of their time. Her mom had credit there, so Lorraine was allowed to purchase candy. This grocery store also had butchered meat. During a summer day in the early 80s, someone or something vandalized this grocery store while the owners were on vacation. The front door had been torn through, and there was a large hole in the floor of the front porch. The majority of the butchered meat had been stolen. When the owners returned, they started to blame the local residents for the theft and vandalism. This was very much out of character for the people in this small town. Everyone depended on this grocery store. Besides, it was a friendly, tight-knit community, and crime was very rare. There were no charges brought up against anyone. The grocery store soon closed its business in Lovington and moved to another town. The grocery store building was left as is and abandoned. One early morning, a few months later, Lorraine and her younger sister were home alone after their parents rushed Lorraine's older sister to the hospital several miles away. Lorraine's sister had a ruptured appendix the night before and needed immediate treatment. Lorraine was sleeping on the couch in the living room while her younger sister was fast asleep on the floor. Lorraine was awoken by a loud creaking sound outside the front door. She raised up from the couch and thought she had saw a large hairy head and shoulders in the window. Alarmed, Lorraine immediately pulled the covers over her head, while hoping this thing would just go away. She continued hearing noises on the porch, and once again she noticed the same large hairy head and shoulders standing in the window. It would duck down below the window, then slowly raise up. By this time, Lorraine had become curious and thought it was her cousins, maybe playing a prank on her. Her little sister still asleep on the floor. Lorraine got off the couch and walked toward the window to peek out. She was amazed to see a huge, hairy man swiftly striding towards side of the house in the direction of the school. Lorraine runs to the door, steps out barefoot, and begins running after this large creature. She was sure that someone was trying to scare her, and she was somewhat fearless when she was younger. She was going to find out what was going on. Lorraine ran past the school and made her way to the abandoned grocery store. She heard noises coming from inside the building. She stepped upon the porch and immediately felt a sharp stabbing pain in her right foot. She quickly sat down on the porch and saw that she had stepped on a large splinter. She was in terrible pain and tried to remove this splinter while tears were floating down her cheeks. Then, without warning, a large, hairy hand reached from behind her and pointed at her injury. Lorraine commented that the fingernails were black and that the hand was the size of a catcher's mitt with thick fingers. She said that she wasn't afraid of this hairy man, but did not like the way it smelled. She looked up and saw the face of an ape-like man with long, darkish red hair falling over its face. The skin was like that of a tanned Caucasian man, but more rugged looking. The eyes were round and honey-colored. She reached up and pulled on the hair, wanting to see if it was a costume. She yanked it hard enough that the hairy man grimaced in a way that indicated he didn't like it. But she also noticed compassion as well. This hairy man then picked Lorraine up into his arms and cradled her like a baby. He arose to his feet and quickly walked in the direction of her house, occasionally stopping near a pine tree in order to see if anyone was watching. Lorraine was afraid that the hairy man was going to kidnap her, but was relieved when they reached her house. He gently lowered her to her porch and watched as she tried to remove the splinter from her foot. This hairy man/creature then turned quickly, as if he had heard someone approaching. He ran off toward the large grove of pine trees and was gone. In a minute or two, the local police car was making its way down the street. Lorraine said you could always tell it was the police because they had a patrol car that made a loud squeaking noise. The hairy man must have heard it from a distance and ran off. Lorraine now believes that this hairy man was responsible for the break-in at the grocery store. She estimates that the hairy man was at least 8 feet in height and covered in thick, long, reddish hair that seemed to slightly change in hue when it moved. Lorraine said she had never seen the hairy man again after this incident, but she did see a smaller hairy biped a few years ago while driving home at night. Her account is not very widely known, and she only told her daughter up until now. So today's first video evidence is going to be what appears to be a guy standing in his neighborhood. He must have saw something, probably has his kid with him, and tells his kid to get back in the house as he goes chasing after whatever he has spotted, only to realize that it was not what he expected it to be. Check it out.
Get in the house. Get in the house.
So there is the video clip. I am going to leave it up to you guys to have you come up with your own decision and opinion on the video. I have my own. I'm not going to share mine because I don't want my decision or my opinion on the video to change or steer your opinion in a different way than what you already may think. So let's get on to today's second encounter. This incident took place in Lower Alabama near Bay Minette. I was in high school at the time, almost 8 years ago, but I still remember every detail like it just happened. 3 friends, myself, were making our trip to our buddy's house way out in the boondocks, maybe 30 minutes outside of any nearby town. There's only one road that takes you to his house, and it's just a long strip of old concrete that's in dire need of repair. But considering only a handful of people live out there, why would the state waste their time and money? On both sides of the road, it's just dense forest that creeps to the edge of the road, and sometimes hardly nowhere to pull off, and absolutely no streetlights. We were in my friend's brand new Mustang that he had gotten for his birthday. He was so proud to drive us all around wherever we wanted to go. Jamie's driving, my friend Dave is in the passenger seat, myself and our other friend Mary are crammed in the back seat, along with his giant sound system, no seatbelts, just half standing, half sitting on the floorboards. It was very uncomfortable, and the rattling of the music shook my entire body. But I was just happy one of us had a vehicle to take us to our buddy's house. We turned onto the long strip of road that would take us there, and it was very disappointing that there was another car not too far ahead of us, which meant Jamie couldn't show off how fast the new car could go. Although there's no crazy turns and curves on the road, it's just a solid white line the whole way because of the endless hills, making it impossible to pass anyone. We accepted that we had to go the speed limit, and Jamie turned his music down so we could talk crap about the tiny red Toyota that we would be stuck behind. It was about 9 p.m. and there was no moon visible through the dense clouds, so it was pitch black beside our headlights and the car in front of us with its own lights, which were their brights because I'm sure they were aware of the ton of deer that lived out here. No other vehicles came from the other direction, and no one was behind us. We drove for only about 10 minutes, cutting up and hardly paying attention to the road since we knew where we were going. Suddenly the car in front of us slams on its brakes, skidding their tires, stopping in the middle of the road. Jamie wasn't following too closely, so we didn't have to do the same. But we came to a slow stop, maybe 15 feet behind him. There was a brief pause before we heard a woman's blood-curdling scream coming from the car in front of us. We had our windows down because some of us had been smoking cigarettes, and that's when we saw it. We stopped on the declining hill so we could see in front of the Toyota, and what we saw I'll never be able to forget. It was some kind of humanoid-looking creature standing on all fours, with the arch of its back taller than the Toyota. The only thing that made it humanoid was its hairless skin, but it was pale, almost gray, very wrinkly, and its limbs were impossibly long. Its forearm was longer than any human's entire arm. The legs, fingers, arms, neck, everything looked like stretched taffy, and we could see all of its bones through its skin, especially the backbones, that were almost spiked-like because they were jutting out so much. It wasn't facing us, it just stopped mid-stride in the middle of the road, facing the right side of the forest. It had backward-facing knees like a bird's leg, no tail, but still had the posture of some kind of animal. I hope to God it was an animal, but there's no animal in Alabama that would be taller than a car on all fours, and like I said, it had human-like skin, hands, feet, and a head. No one in the car said a word. Jamie instinctively hit the lock button on the doors, though our windows were still down and the woman in the Toyota was still screaming bloody murder. For a moment I remember telling myself it's just some kind of prank, a weird art sculpture or something, because it wasn't moving at all. But then those thoughts quickly dissipated when the thing cocked its head in our direction. Its face was just as terrible as the rest of its body, pale and wrinkly. Just an indentation for a nose, tiny black holes for eyes, no ears, and an impossibly large red-stained mouth that formed into a wicked smile, showing its multiple rows of pointed teeth. The woman's scream grew terribly louder at that moment, and this thing seemed to finally be almost startled by it, turning its head back toward the forest, taking only 2 giant, fluid animal-like steps and disappearing into the woods on our right without a sound. As soon as it was out of sight, Jamie slowly crept the Mustang forward around the still-stopped Toyota, and we saw a man and woman frantically arguing and crying in the front seat. When we got in front of them, the man puts the Toyota in reverse and goes a bit off-road to turn around and floors it in the direction that we had just come from. Apparently, where they were heading wasn't important enough. I almost thought we should do the same, but I couldn't get myself to make a sound, let alone a word or sentence. Jamie went only about 5 miles over the speed limit as the windows were rolled up and no one was saying a word for the rest of the 20-mile drive. When we finally got to our friend's house, he was waiting outside for us, waving as we pulled in his little dirt driveway. All 4 of us scrambled out, pushing past him to get inside. I remember him saying, like, "Whoa, looks like you guys saw a ghost or something." Dave turns to him and, in the most serious face, says, "Or something, yeah." We got inside, and part of me was still thinking it was some sort of hallucination, even though we hadn't drank or smoked that day at all. So, being the artsy of the group, I asked our friend for some paper and pencils. Without question, he retrieved them. And while sitting on his living room floor, I suggested that we all should try and draw exactly what we saw before we try to discuss anything. Sure enough, each of us drew the exact same creature and showed it to our friend before explaining the story. He was horrified and took the drawings out to his small fire pit and lit them. None of us protested because we never wanted to visualize that thing again. He asked us things like, were we drugged or were we pulling a fast one on him? But considering there were 2 other people that saw the same thing, and most of us were to the point of tears, he knew we weren't lying. He let us back inside, locked the doors and windows, and put a movie on to distract us. But we kept bringing it up, trying to make sense of what it was. I could hardly sleep. Jamie took us home the next day, and we saw the Toyota's black skid marks in the road where it had happened, confirming that it was not an elaborate shared dream. Before we dropped off Mary, she told us that she didn't want to hang out anymore with any of us, simply because being around us would remind her of it. We sort of just nodded, and I honestly hadn't spoken to her since. I rarely speak to the other 2 friends anymore, for other reasons, but a few times I'd tried to bring it up to them and they refused to talk about it. I know they know what happened. It's just too painful for anyone to discuss, which is understandable. I hate talking about it to this day, and I've only told my 2 closest friends and my now boyfriend, who is very opposed to any supernatural things. So you can understand why I didn't get any relief by talking to him about it. I never really believed in those sort of things either before that incident, but it's definitely changed my perspective. The second shocking video evidence is going to include a small clip that I had shared once before, but now I have the rest of the video clips that I want to share with you guys, and it is something quite terrifying, actually. Judging from how everyone is acting and how the dog in the field was acting, I can see where it would be horrifying. So here is that video clip. Enjoy.
There is. Look at it. Look at that. Oh, dude. It's coming, man. It's coming. we're just out here on trampoline.
Dude,
Don't,
dude, what is that?
What?
What is that? What the heck is that? Oh my god. What the heck is that, dude? Oh, dude, I think the thing is coming a little bit closer. Oh crap, it just screamed. It just screamed. Oh crap. Dude, it's coming! It's coming! Let's run!
Run! Run!
It's coming!
Oh God, Jesus! It's that thing again. It's that thing again, look. It's going into the woods.
I've seen that video footage a while ago when I said that when I shared a short video clip of it. I wanted to kind of compile all of the video evidence and have it in one kind of shot for you guys. It is very shocking. It is very creepy. And how everyone acts in the videos, including the dog, is kind of what sets it off from others. But, you know, I'm not there to really see it. All I'm looking at is through a screen. So I really don't know what it is. And hopefully I never see anything like it. But let's get on to our third and final experience. This is a rather short encounter because I was riding in a car and basically saw it and rode past it. I've been past this site hundreds of times before and since then, but I've never gotten out to walk around this area. Maybe I should. This experience changed my life. When I read encounters from others, I never discount them. Why? Because I know what I saw, and who am I to question someone else's experience? Sure, there are a lot of made-up stories and creepypastas out there, but I strive to find credible-sounding accounts. It was evening, and my family and I were coming home from Chesapeake Beach, Maryland, from having dinner with my brother, mom, and dad. I was 16 at the time, and I was in the back right passenger seat, chilling with my brother, riding along. I'm just looking out the window, and there's this little road that merges onto the main road from the left. So we merged to pick up a little speed. We're going maybe 25 to 30 miles an hour, and you have to cross this little bridge, and it's really bumpy, so we slowed even more, maybe 20 miles an hour. Once we did that, I looked up ahead, and about 75 yards ahead, I saw something standing at the wood edge, just off to the right a little. But it was exactly at the edge of the woods. It had both arms on a tree just standing there, meaning its right arm was on the tree about shoulder height, and its left arm was on the tree about shoulder height. So its arms were basically spread out with its hands on the trees. It was about 7 feet tall, maybe taller. It had a wolf-like face, only larger, like a dire wolf from Game of Thrones. It had very broad shoulders, very muscular arms, a barreled chest, and it narrowed the rest of the way down to its abdomen area. It was dark brown, and its hair or fur was medium length. I didn't get a great look at the legs because I had locked eyes with it and it me. I knew I saw it and it saw me. I saw it a good distance up ahead. And I was like, what the hell is that standing at the wood edge? As soon as I said that to myself, I locked eyes with it. I saw it for a good 10-15 seconds because of how far up ahead I first noticed it moving around and how slow we were traveling. Its eyes followed mine the entire time. It took my breath when I first realized what I was looking at, and my first thought was, God, that thing is ugly. It had very pointy features, and it didn't look like a Bigfoot, but an actual werewolf. A lot of people call them Dogman, but I'm more inclined to say it was an actual werewolf. I said it out loud to my family. Did you guys see that? And of course, they were like, see what? Another thing was this was in southern Maryland, where there are no bears or any other large animals, but I asked my family over and over if they saw it, and they started getting annoyed with me. I told people over the years, but I was only ridiculed and teased about it, so I stopped. That's my encounter. My family still doesn't believe me either, and most people think I'm crazy or lying. So I rarely share this with anyone. But it's real, and it was there. I just want to know what this creature was. Alright, so staying with Dogman, this next video clip appears to be a Dogman, kind of peeking its head out, looking at a group of friends or family members. It just stands there, staring at them from behind this tree, and then kind of moves its head back behind the tree and comes back and looks at them again. It is creepy. Check it out. Alright guys, so that is today's final video clip of the upload. And to me, it does resemble a Dogman. I'm not sure what you guys feel, and I really hope that you guys can formulate your own opinions and decisions on it, because that's what really makes cryptozoology so much fun, is taking evidence and creating your own kind of opinion on all this evidence that we've uncovered. All right, folks, I hope you all enjoyed this middle of the night or early morning bonus upload, depending on wherever you may live or however you look at the clock. Thank you for supporting the channel. Your support is what makes this channel continue to grow and go, and honestly what keeps it a place where people can share their experiences, ideas, and theories, judgment and ridicule free. Thank you. Stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, our pets, our family, and friends. These creatures are real, they are out there, and they are dangerous. Share this information with the people you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless.